Yes, John Lee, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing awesome, awesome, brother. How's things where you are?
Yeah, all is well. All is well. To be honest, it's always been great. In all fairness, I know like we've got this situation, this pandemic, but I think it's all about what's going on in your head. That kind of determines your environment, your energy, your happiness, and while there's a bit of a madness going on and people are concerned, it's made no difference to my energy. I've still been the same. What about yourself? How have you felt during this whole, you know, pandemic?
Well, I think first of all, when it first happened, I was like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" Because one of my businesses is I run events, so I fly around the world and I speak in events, and of course, I was supposed to fly to Australia and speak in front of 4,000 people, and that just got cancelled. I'm like, "Wow, okay." And then it happened again and again. I said, "Okay, so basically that business is not going to run anymore." So you got to do something different. So in times of challenge, in times of when you don't know what's going to happen, it's really an opportunity for you to grow. A lot of people will they'll either fight it or they'll flight, they'll run away, or they'll just freeze. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, I've got to do something different. So then I thought to myself, well, let's do something different. How can we still run an event? And so for a long time, I hesitated running events online. Just because it just wasn't part of my belief system. I was like, no one's going to show up online and stay for 10, 11 hours watching me online. And
Yeah.
so we were forced to run our first one because people would just say, oh, when you're coming back, we don't know when we're coming back. And so it created a lot of uncertainty. So we said, you know what, let's just run it online. And the first time we ran it, it was like, I can't believe people just stayed 10 hours, and this is not just one day, it's 3 days in a row, 10 hours a day.
Wow.
I mean, the first one overran a little bit because it was the first time we were doing it. Now we've kind of shortened it down a little bit. We've streamlined it. But the first time we were doing, we didn't really know what we were doing. We just kind of, it's that whole concept of entrepreneurship, jumping off a cliff and building a plane on the way down. That's
Yes.
what entrepreneurship is. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, that was, if we hadn't have done that, then that business, probably it would have been some challenges there.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. I could imagine. And, I love that term there, jumping from a cliff or from a bridge. I always think about that because sometimes decisions need to be made like that. If you spend too much time trying to think about it, trying to perfect it, so many opportunities are disappearing and going in the meantime, isn't it? Have you found that
Absolutely.
you've had to just make decisions super quick without really thinking too much?
Well, people always talk about this term ROI, which is return on investment, but they never talk about the COI, which is the cost of inaction, right? They never measure the opportunity cost. For example, I have a lot of people that say to me, oh, should I attend this program? Should I attend that program? Should I get a coach? Should I get a mentor? And brother, from, training and working out every day and you're in amazing shape, you are committed to that. But imagine if every day you say, oh, one day I'll go to the gym, right? You'd never look the way you are right now, would you? It's the same with everything. It's like you got to make those decisions, and if you don't, there's going to be an opportunity cost. For example, in 2008, that's where I made a lot of my money. I made my first million at the age of 27 through property investment, right? So I started buying all these properties. And so there was that little gap in 2008 when the whole market, and you probably remember this, when the whole market just crashed and we had that double dip recession. But that's where I was finding all the opportunities. Like if I'd have said to myself, you know what, I'm going to wait a little bit longer just for the house price to go down a little bit longer, I'd still be waiting. I have friends that say that still today. Oh, I'm still waiting for the house price to go down, you know?
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. So you got to make that decision quick. We've spoken on many occasions, and I'm always intrigued and appreciative for your time. But I'm very intrigued with how you manage to find time to answer questions, and you find time out of your day to be available, to much of your followers, your community, and like you're a multimillionaire. And it's weird because I'll speak to people, I'll try to contact people and they're never available. And I'm like, there's people like John Lee who manages to have time on his hands and he should be like crazy busy. So what I would love to know is how you manage your time so effectively that you can have time for people. I mean, that is really good. That's an amazing part of your business. You manage to reach out to people. You speak to individuals. I see it in your comments. And there's many people, they're like, oh, I'm just too busy, and their whole life falls apart.
Well, the first question is priority, isn't it? Right. So what's your priorities? Like, well, what are your values? Like my value, you see, it's the hierarchy of needs, isn't it? I don't know if you're the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but one of the needs is, okay, I just need to survive, right? But once you get to that level, okay, you're surviving now. Now, what do you want to do? Well, once I've survived that, I want to do something for me. Then you do something for you. Okay, so now you buy all the cars, you buy the houses. Okay, what now? Right? Then after that, it's contribution. So, so for me, there's a few things. One is when you're operating a business, anyone listening to this is a business owner. I mean, I'm a CEO of a publicly listed company. I've got a multi-million-pound property portfolio. I've got teams to manage. I write books. I speak on stage. And I don't say that to say, oh, look how good I am. I'm just saying that, like, you can have a really, really amazing life and you can still have the time. And so what do people need to understand? Well, first of all, they need to get out of the mindset of working in the business and working on the business. So instead of being a technician, you don't want to be a technician, that person working in the business. You want to be, the person who's kind of see it from a bird's eye view. So are you an owner or you're an operator, right? Am I owning the company or am I operating that company? And sometimes I still do the operation because there's parts, there's things that you do in life where, it doesn't financially make sense to do, but you still do it because you love to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for me to fly halfway around the world and speaking to 3,000 people when I could spend that journey would probably take 2 or 3 days, a day of recovery, and then time away from the family, right? And it would cost me more money in my company by not being in the company, running the company. But there's some things you do that needs to juice you, because if you don't have that juice in your life, you're just gonna be working all the time. And so that's what I realized. And it actually was a recent realization is, oh my God, like when I listed a company, it was valued at 30 million euros on day one. I'm like, wow, and then I realized, okay, well, now what? I wasn't celebrating the wins. I wasn't enjoying it. The analogy is I'm going 1,000 miles an hour on the straight road. I'm passing all these beautiful waterfalls. I'm passing all these beautiful sceneries. I'm just going in one direction, and that's it. I'm not stopping to appreciate it. So now, obviously now being a father, if you have no time, you have to make the time. So for example, on a regular basis, I get up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning. I'll go to bed at 10, 11, sometimes 12. Yesterday I had about 4 hours sleep. That's not good, by the way. You need to have a lot of sleep. Weeks and weekends, I'll get maybe up to 8 hours sleep, so you got to balance it. Like you can't just focus on one thing. Like before, it all used to be about business. Well, what about my personal life? What about myself? I mean, beginning of this year, I was 95 kg and I've dropped down to about 83 kg now. So I lost 10 kg during this whole craziness because I took that time for myself. I see a lot of people are really successful and they're making all this money and they're rich, but they're so overweight. They can't even get out of their Lamborghini. Do you see what I mean? You see them getting out,
That's a great problem to have. I don't know how to put it.
Well, it isn't. Because money is just money. I mean, it's a piece of paper. That's all it is. But you got to think about, why are we doing this? Why are we, like, if you keep asking the question, okay, why do you work so hard? Well, I want to make a lot of money. Why? So I can have more time. Why? So you can spend more time with your family. Why? And if you look at all the whys, it comes down to happiness, right? So I see people busting their balls, working so hard in the company, in the business. And by the way, it's okay to do as long as it's balanced. But the thing is, are they happy? And you look at most people who are rich, actually, they're not happy. And I've seen this myself. So, it's because a lot of my friends are multi-millionaires, and I see how come some are just so bliss? Like energy's different. You see some guys, the primary emotions they're living is frustration and anger rather than calm and, patient. Sometimes one of my heroes, Bruce Lee's, he says, be like water. Water flows. Water can fit into any gap, can fit into any corner. So now I live my life with, I'm super busy. I mean, every hour of my day is blocked out. After this, I have a call with Google, for example, right? So But I just like, if you don't slot in the time for yourself, like this morning when I messaged you, I was on my walk. So I did my walk this morning. So I was getting oxygen in my body, in cells. That's my, oxygenation time. So your cell, if you want more energy, you have to have, your cells need three things: oxygen, nutrition, and hydration, right? So I'm getting hydration, that's why I got 2 liter bottle, ionized water,
Nice.
right? And then I get the oxygen, and then of course I clean my diet up, so like you gotta put that time in, because if you don't put that time in for yourself, it will get sucked up by other things. Like, for example, you want to get stuff done, don't check your phone. Leave your phone in another room, right? Because I tell you, like yesterday, you know how long it takes people to build a whole presentation? I'm doing a keynote speech, and typically, like with my internet open, with my WhatsApp, with Facebook, with YouTube, with my email, it would take like 3 or 4 hours to get the presentation done. But when you turn everything off, you can do it in about 40 minutes. Because it's just pure focus. And it's like when you're working at the gym, right? You can go to the gym, work out one time for like, 10 hours, or you can go every day for 15, 20 minutes, half an hour with the right intensity. You can get the same results. So people are just not applying the intensity in the right way that they should be applying it.
Do you have tools which you use, like, I don't know, like a digital calendar or anything like that? Are there any certain applications which comes in handy? Or
I just keep it simple. I've got a PA, right? So the PA takes care of everything. I have a manager, I have a publicist. So anything to do with media related stuff, if you don't know me personally, you'd have to go through that person. My PA, any business opportunities, people like, oh, John, I want to do a business with you. Okay, here's my PA's number. Send your pitch deck there. You know what? 9% of the time, people don't send the pitch deck there. Right? So that's already filtering out the people who are not serious.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to have these gatekeepers to protect your time. Right? And also you have to be protection of your time as well. Like one of my highest values, like you say, well, John, if you're working in business, why are you doing this podcast with me? One of my values is contribution. I really want to help people. And you probably hear it in my voice. Like I get passionate about it. I want to kind of give people the education that was never taught to them at school. Because people get shaped by the environment, by knowledge. But I believe that knowledge is power. Knowledge gives you opportunities. But where do you get the knowledge from? And people not willing to take that time out. People stop their schooling at 21, but the education should really continue for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably when education begins, to be honest with you. The moment you leave school, it's almost like the ultimate test of, everything that you've accumulated there. Okay, let's see what you've learned now.
Yeah.
And then, life will teach you some other things probably a lot more along the way. So you'd mentioned about the walk in the morning before we started our podcast. And I know that they say a successful day starts from the morning. What would you say are the most uncompromising habits or rules to implement for your mornings to snowball into a successful day?
It's really simple, and people just overcomplicate it, right? So you need to slot in a couple of hours in the morning, right, with zero distraction. The night before, just say, okay, what do I want to do? So literally, where's my pen? I've got one of my here it is. So I've got this thing here, right? Old school, right? You just write your notes and things in here. That's my daughter writing this as well, right? But you want to jot your ideas down. In 2011, I got a chance to spend some time with Richard Branson. We spoke on the same stage together in 2011, and he's always carrying this book around with him. This little, he's always writing ideas, and he's always putting things. And of course, something magical happens when you write on paper, because it's connection. Like, it's one thing typing it out, but when you put pen to paper, it's that creativity. I used to be an animator, right? So I know that animating on a computer versus animating on paper are two different skill sets, and it activates different parts of the brain. So when you're on computer, it's more like it's the logical side. I'm thinking logic. When I'm on this side, when I'm creating, there's nothing better than, I tell you, one of the best moments every year, and I learned this from Bill Gates. So every year you should go away to a remote destination, somewhere that you're not familiar with, somewhere that's really far away from your proper, your usual environment, and just spend 2 weeks just doing nothing but just dumping ideas, educating, have that your own space. And of course now I kind of blend that in with a vacation as well, you know. So every year I'll go to Bali, you know. And you just look at, you know, you got this beautiful sunsets, you got the ocean, like you need that thinking space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's like, because we're just so distracted with so many things around us, our phone, our friends, email, work colleagues, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister. There's just too many things coming at you. But when you completely isolate, it's like, okay, this is my time to create. Like, you'll never see an artist painting and doing something else at the same time. They're fully focused on painting, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do find for myself, I've got like a whole list of stuff which I do in the morning. And it is a moment for me where, you know, I'll use my red light therapy, do some breathing, and it's just a powerful moment for me, really, where I can just like think about maybe nothing, or like what I'm going to be doing for the day, but just that clearance, and no social media for the moment. There's like there is a point where it's like press the start button. It's like, okay, go, let's go for it. Let's get on top of things. But I definitely agree with that morning moment for yourself, just where it just needs to be bliss. So you've made it to the Forbes list. Congratulations. So it was when you was 27 years old or something, isn't it? You was a self-made millionaire.
At 27, yeah. Then that was through real estate.
Through real estate.
Yeah.
Amazing. Did you have any help from family with finances, or did you start from the ground up? What's your story with that?
Well, I just want to clarify something. So I was featured in Forbes. I haven't made it into the Forbes list. So I was being featured in Forbes. So I think I think the minimum is like your net worth needs to be like 5 billion or something like that. So I'm not quite there yet. So I just want to clarify that for people listening. In regards to helping with finances, no. I mean, my parents, they gave me a little bit, you know, bit for university, you know, a little bit for my first property, but nothing major. You know, it's you know, my family is like working class, so we weren't rich, we weren't poor. We were just kind of like in the middle. Yeah. You know, so it's really like, if you want to get rich knowledge, you need to learn it from rich people, right? It's actually quite like, if I want to get in shape, if I want, you know, big muscles like you, I need to pick your brains on, hey, how do I lift this weight? How do I put this pressure? How do I get shoulders like that? I mean, it's amazing, you know. It's the same with business, the same with relationships. Like any area of your life that you want to improve, whether it be your health, wealth, your finances, your spirit, you got to find these people, you know, and you got to learn from them, right? And there's lots of books you can read, but I just think sometimes when you're learning directly from someone, there's a connection there. There's a translation of knowledge that is, I guess, absorbed at a much deeper level rather than just reading. Like, you can't read to drive a car on a book, you know, like I can't read a book and just learn to drive. I got to be in the driver's seat, right? Yeah. So, and that's what I did. I didn't have any finances. I was working in a job. I was working as an animator in London. So the company I worked for was called Frame Store CFC. They were, you know, they did films like, you know, now they do all the Avengers movies. You know, they did all the Harry Potter stuff. So I worked as an animator, you know, but in that time I was doing my self-education. And this is where people don't do. They'd rather spend a weekend watching Game of Thrones. And then, by the way, I still watch things like that, you know, like Netflix, but it's the time in which you allocate to that. How much time are you putting in? You know, there's a saying that says, you know, where the energy goes, money flows. Right. So if you put your energy into business, that's where the money is. If you put the energy into I use money being because people can visualize that. But if you do that for your health, if you every day you go to the gym, then you'll have a body like you, you know, you see? So it's just where people put their time. And for me, it was all about growth. Like, I need to learn more. I need to understand more. And, you know, because I'm dyslexic, I find it hard to learn. So I'm always looking at different ways of learning things. How do I learn this? How do I learn that? How do I learn that? So it's always like, you've got to constantly be improving yourself. You've got to constantly be investing in yourself. Instead of going out and wasting, you know, 5,000 on a, you know, a bag or a car or a watch, whatever it is, put it into yourself, because you're going to be the biggest ROI. And you see people doing that. You know, there's this graphic that I put on my social media where there's this, there's this picture of this person who's got a price tag of this jacket's $500, the cap is $200, the watch is $5,000, and there's a tag on the brain which is $0.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I saw that one. I think that was on. Was it like split in half and one? I don't know.
No, it was one of the earlier ones that I did years ago. That's just another way I kind of explained it,
revamped it.
Revamped it, the new version. But it's so true. It's like okay, how much are you worth? Meaning, how much is your brain worth? How much money have you put into your brain? For most people, nothing. Even if they go to university, most people take a grant. It's not really their money. It's the government's money. How much of your hard-earned money have you put into yourself?
I get that. So what about with your portfolio that you have in property? How did you start that?
Oh, again, so I talk about this in Forbes actually. And but if people have never read the Forbes feature, just go to Google, you type in John Lee Forbes, right? But in the article, it talked about, I had my first mentor, his name was Ying Tan. And so when I asked him to mentor me, he said, well, his fee's £10,000. And I'm like, this is insane. £10,000. I don't have £10,000. So I had to sell my car, and a lot of people would never sell their car to get the information. Because in my mind, like, oh my God, this is like, I worked so hard for this. I'm a car person. Like I really enjoy driving cars, and then I thought to myself, okay, well, maybe one day I'll have a better car. So I sold the car, paid him £10,000. I literally, over 2 days, extracted every piece of information. For example, he had a way of buying properties without, using, most people have to get a mortgage or deposit. So he found a way to do it to find properties below the market value. So let's say a property is worth 200,000. I'd buy it for 150,000, sell it for 200,000, make 50 grand. Right. So he knew the way because most people would just go to an estate agent, right, to find deals. But estate agents would never give you well, not never, because I've had a lot of deals, but unlikely to do that because their goal is to get the property at the highest price, not the cheapest price. So then he taught me another way, and I thought, oh, that makes so much sense. I can just knock on someone's door with a for sale sign and say, would you like to sell your house? If I do that enough times, one of them is going to say yes, right? And it's just then it comes down to a numbers game. See? So it's these processes, it's these blueprints, it's the frameworks of what people know. And that's why you need mentoring, is to extract the framework. I mean, you have a framework for getting in shape, right? Of what you eat, of how you sleep, of how you lift weights. I'm sure you don't just lift weights like anybody else. You lift weights by maybe like fast up, slow down, maybe the burnout reps. You have a specific way of doing things. And if you want to achieve that result, if you want to become successful, you just need to find out how they did it.
So, I'm sorry. No, please.
And so that's what I did. So, and then I thought, wow, that first mentor was good. Then I thought, wow, made a lot of money from that. Let me do it again. 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 I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And every year I spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this. This is my best asset. It's with me all the time.
Yeah. So you would say anyone who wanted to build a portfolio like you would need to find themselves a mentor. That's the main thing.
Well, it's not meant. I mean, I'll give you a few tips. For example, it comes down to three things. Number one, you got to find the deal. So once you found the deal, then you have to learn how to negotiate that deal, right? And then once you negotiate that deal, then you have to start to finance the deal. So I'll tell you why most people are broke, because they don't have the skills, right? And one of the reasons why you need a coach is for direction, but you also need upskilling. They need to upskill themselves. I mean, seriously, the reason why Warren Buffett's a billionaire is he's very skilled at analyzing companies, right? That's it. He spends 6 hours a day analyzing companies, knowing where to put his money. So that's why a lot of people don't see that connection. They don't see, if I learn how to do sales, if I go on a sales training course, right? Is that going to improve my life? Well, of course it was. People just see, okay, I'll make more sales. But no, it's going to improve you. Like, you'll get what you want in life. You know how to, like, you can't control everything in your life, but you can influence it. Right? You can influence it. You can, like, you can't control that it's going to rain today, but you can put a hood on. You can go out with an umbrella, right? So you can influence your situation, and people they don't spend enough time on that. They get so numb, right? And everything starts with your nutrition, right? Because when you put stuff in your mouth, it makes you feel a certain way, doesn't it? Like if I eat a chocolate bar, I'm going to feel really happy and then I'll feel tired. I'm going to feel tired. Guess what? I don't want to get up and film that video. I don't want to get up and have that podcast. I'd rather stay in bed, right? So for example, one thing I changed, by the way, it was really, really good. Being Chinese, we always eat white rice. I switched from white rice to whole grain rice. Now, oh my God, my energy is 10 times better. I can still eat carbs, right? I can still stay in shape, but I do not feel that tiredness afterwards. My blood sugar doesn't peak. Again, and I have a coach now that teaches me like nutritional stuff, right? So he says, okay, eat this, eat that. So it depends what you want. Do you want to get in shape, or do you want more energy, or do you just want to get more healthy and cure diseases? I say, for me, I want more energy. If I'm going to build a multi-billion-dollar company, I need to have the energy to follow through. So, and he charges like $1,000 per session, but is that worth it? I'd rather pay someone $1,000 for a session. For now, I can go out and make informed choices of, okay, pick up that thing. Okay, what does that mean? Right? Anything with sugar in it, get rid of it. Right? Anything with like it's got the gluten, right? Get rid of that. Right? Anything whole grain, good. Anything that's colorful, good. Anything that's going to put a lot of, so he's just teaching me all these things. And I would never have known that. Do you know what I used to do as well? I used to have like 3 double espressos every single day. And so of course it gave me a lot of energy, but what I was doing, I was numbing my body. So now I don't drink coffee. I haven't drank coffee since for almost a year now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I used to be like, bang, 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 double espresso one morning, in the afternoon, at night, right? Because that just numbs the part in your brain. It doesn't solve the source. You see what I mean? So now when people smoke, they want nicotine. I want air. I want oxygen. You see what I mean? So it all starts with what you put in your mouth, because it determines how you're going to feel. Even getting by on 4 or 5 hours sleep, I still wake up with more energy than someone who's had 10 hours sleep. In fact, if you sleep too long, you feel more tired. It's actually counterintuitive.
Yeah, I get that. Whenever I have a long sleep, yeah. But it is all about the quality, for sure. Makes a lot of sense. You got people that really want to be successful. There's people out there, well, they say they want to be successful, but I don't know. It's almost like they don't really put the energy in it. They don't really do what it needs to be successful. Like, what would you say are the common mistakes people do which hinder their success?
Well, they need to understand why, right? So for example, a lot of people want success, but they're scared of failing. So can you see that's a big problem? Because if you want success, you have to fail, because you have to fail to know what not to do next, right? Not what to do and then what to do. Okay, if I do this, I get a negative result. If I do that, I get a right result. But you have to fail to succeed. So if your why is, I want to be successful, but I'm scared of failing, you need to rewire that in your brain, right? So, and it's also, it's who are you doing it for? We'll do far more for the people than we'll ever do for ourselves. So for me, my original why was my mom. So I wanted to work so hard that, my mom would never have to work again. And she doesn't have to work again, should she choose not to, So and then now it's my daughter, it's my wife. So when my wife gave birth, I said, please, don't, if you don't want to work, I don't want to be one of those parents where, we just send our kids to day school and you just never see them. They get back at 6 o'clock, they go to bed, and you had missed that connection. Because the ages of your kids between 0 and 7 years old is where they get their identity. So I want to spend it, even though I have, two, in the past I had, people, nannies to take care of the kids, and thought, no, I want to take care of the kids, because I want to imprint my belief systems onto my kids, even though it's going to be harder, even though I'm going to lose time out of other things. But it comes down to what's important to you. You see? So people who want success, they don't want it bad enough. Right? It's because they haven't written down why. Also as well, people don't even know what successful means. People go, how do you know you're going to be successful? Well, when I've got $1 billion in the bank account. Do you know how many people have $1 billion in the bank account? They set up these in almost impossible, like in relationships, this person's going to be this, and this. And when one thing's off, they sabotage the relationship. So they actually people's minds set themselves up to fail because they are looking at other people's reality of the world, right? I've known people who have nothing, but they're so happy. Why they're happy? Because they've met their expectations. When you do things and you don't expect what you're going to get, and you don't get that, that's when you're unhappy. When you expect something to happen and it happens, you're happy. You know? So it's just people have not thought about those expectations. They haven't sat down and thought, okay, what does success really mean to me? Is it having a lot of money? Is it having a lot of friends? Is it being able to not have to work? Because look, most people can earn quite easily £5,000 a month by just setting an online business. It's not hard. I mean, really, but if you want to become a multi-millionaire, that's a different story. You need a lot of work to do that. I know a lot of people within a year can make $5,000 a month, you know, creating a blog or having on social media or creating an online business. So just buying and selling like a few houses. 5,000 for a lot of people would like some people say, well, I want to make all this money because I want a lot of time. Well, how much money do you need to have all that time? You don't need to have £1 million in a bank account to have all that time. You can have 100 grand like coming in passively and you can have a lot of time. Do you see what I mean? So people have these, and you know, social media doesn't help. It's putting all these fake expectations and rules on people, and you know that people don't understand that that's not their belief. It's come from somebody else. So if we realize that, then we can change it.
So true. So true. I think, yeah, I look at social media sometimes and I'm like, I don't really want to, like myself. I now understand that some people look at me and be like, this body is, it's impossible to achieve. And I don't really want to focus too much on, you know, six pack, shredded and all that sort of thing. I try to focus a bit more on longevity so people understand just working on their health on a cellular side would be, it is better to look at it from that aspect, and then everything else will come. That's the way I look at it anyway. If you just look at it from, it's almost like an artificial standpoint, then you're really kind of missing the picture. So
it's true. So true. I mean, so it's kind of like it's the ripple effect. You drop a pebble into a pond, you get the ripples, right? So what's that drop in the pond, you know? And then it comes down to that question. What question? Like before, the question is, how can I make more money? How can I make more money? How can I make more money? And that's all you ever focus on. So that's why a lot of people who are really successful, they don't really have a personal life, or they're not really work. That's why their health goes. Have you heard that saying where people make so much money, they spend all the money trying to get their health back? Yeah,
I've heard that before.
We've heard that before, right?
I think, yeah.
So they're focused on one area and it's not balanced. Now, to have a truly, like, you can be successful, but are you fulfilled? Right? Fulfillment is what we really want. To live is what we really want. Right? And when your harmony, when your energy is balanced, oh my God, things start to happen. You know, it's kind of like tuning into that radio. Like you can't quite hear the song. It's like, oh, I can hear a bit of it. It's cutting in and out when you go under a tunnel. It's cut out for a little bit. But when we tune ourselves into the right frequency, we can hear that song so clear, so loud, so deep that it now makes us feel a certain way. And when we feel a certain way, we can do better things. We can make better choices, right? We can live without stress. When people living with stress, I mean, especially with all this fear that's happened, the real virus is the fear it's creating. You know, that like when you are truly comfortable with yourself and you have that confidence, you have that, you know, ability to just know and have that faith, then great things happen. And sometimes I don't know how things are going to happen. I never thought I'd be featured in Forbes. I never thought I could list a company in the stock exchange. It just happened because I followed through.
Yeah.
Because I followed through. That's all it is. A lot of people don't follow through. And if people listen to this, you got to be honest with yourself. Yeah, I follow through all the time. I do this. Yeah, but are you really doing it? How much time did you spend? People say, oh, I've been playing the guitar for 10 years. Oh, really? How many times do you play a day? How long do you play for? 5 minutes a day, right? Instead of, you see what I mean? So people, a lot of people, and you just like, my teacher said to me, he said, his name's Skip. He said, the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. And a lot of people are lying to themselves. You got to be truthful with yourself. Like if you're not good at something, you suck at it, get better at it, right? Be honest with yourself. Because when you're honest with yourself, you take ownership, you shift into an energy from ego to now growth. You take the attention of me to, wow, other people. You see, it's a subtle shift, but that's what it requires. You know, a lot of success is created from within yourself. You're the only person responsible for yourself. So why wouldn't you rewire yourself in such a way to, you know, to get yourself to that next level? That's why when I'm hanging around with a lot of my friends who are multi-millionaires, some of them are billionaires, you just see the way they think. You say, how can you be so calm? Like you're a billionaire. Like you act like you're just chilling out. You got all these companies. So I'm asking the same questions, right? And so these are the answers I'm getting. So I'm going to pass these answers on to you.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. There's a lot of synergy between the kind of like financial aspect in having like financial health and like physical health. There's a lot of synergy there. What about your?
Well, it's just to say on that, like you can be fit, right? But fit and healthy are two different things, isn't it? You can have a body like a god, but you could be messed up inside. So that's why when you're saying stuff about the cellular stuff, people need to understand that stuff. They need to understand the outer world and the inner world, right? It's the same with business. You can, like, you know, if you think about it, like you can have a great body, i.e. in business, it will be all the money in the world, but you can be messed up inside. You see? Yeah. So that financial health, and I think that's super important. And a lot of people don't even, you see, entrepreneurs don't have the education. Like there's no school that teaches you this stuff. Like you kind of figure it out along the way, and you get these epiphanies like, oh, wow, oh, that's what that person meant. Oh, I get it, right? You have to kind of fall your way through it to realize that you have to do it. You have to almost get burnt to understand. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, thank you. What about your whole marketing strategy? Do you spend much attention to marketing and advertising? If so, how often do you do it? How important is it for your business?
Okay, so this is, again, one of the things that you want to be successful, you have to get skills. So normally when businesses fail, they're either not skilled enough, they are running the business really bad, or they've lost that juice. These are the three reasons why most companies fail. So upskilling yourself, you've got to, especially with marketing right now. So for example, I spend millions of dollars on social media marketing, right? I spend a lot of money.
I've seen you on YouTube. Oh yeah, I know him.
It's like, oh God, another one of his videos, right? So here's the thing, right? I spend a lot of money on, but then, okay, do you just spend the money? You have to know how to make it back. So let's say you spend $1 million, you want to make back 2 million, right? So how do you do that? A skill set. You have to know how to market and convert, and that's it, right? How to market and then sell. So when I'm talking about marketing strategy, there are two. I've got paid marketing strategy, I've got an organic marketing strategy, and I've got a brand marketing strategy. So there's three. In fact, I wrote this book called Business Hack, right? So it says the Wealth Dragon Way to build a successful business in the digital age, right? So how are things being done differently in the digital age? Well, in the olden days, you used to have a website where people would go and they would shop on a website. People still do that nowadays with Amazon and things like that. But actually, that's not been my experience. Where I make a lot of money is through social media, social selling and education. And then I have a page where people go and then they buy. So it's not a website, it's a landing page. So landing pages, I go there, I've got one decision, I buy or I don't buy. A website, I got too many decisions. And most people spend between 5 and 10 seconds on a web page and then they go. So you can't sell someone in 5 or 10 seconds. So you got to use social media to sell. All right. And then, you know, because I've got a lot of different Facebook accounts, one of my Facebook accounts, after spending $2.5 million on that account, got flagged. So I lost that account. Right.
Got flagged. So what happened exactly? Why did you?
Because one of the policies, you can't use the word like COVID-19, pandemic and all this kind of stuff. And I knew that. So I didn't put any words in, I didn't type it in, but they flagged my video. Because in my video, I said, hey, I said something about, hey, how to grow your business even pre-COVID. I used the word COVID and bang, it flagged the entire account and I lost the account. $2.5 million that account spent. Right.
Oh my
God. So anyway,
God.
Yeah. Wow. So anyway, John Lee being John Lee. Okay. So when things happen, like before it'd be like, oh my God, I can't be able to market anymore. But now it's like, okay, good. So I'm glad that happened, because now it's forced me to do something better. So now I figured out Twitter marketing. And actually, Twitter marketing is much cheaper than Facebook. And I'm getting more business from Twitter than Facebook now.
Oh, right.
Right. You
Okay.
see, which is why I'm having this call with Google, because now Google, that the budget I would spend on Facebook, now I can push into Google. So now that I've increased the budget in Google, they've basically, there's like a few tiers. The first tier, if you're spending some money; second tier, you're spending money. There's a third tier where you spend a lot of money with them. They actually give you Google representatives to help you spend more money. Right. So and you get invited to the Google offices and all that kind of stuff. Well, obviously this was, pre-COVID times. So yeah, I mean, and it happened for a reason. It happened because I needed to stop being comfortable. I was making so much money from Facebook, and then it just disappeared, right? And this just happened recently, right? So now I'm forced to up-level myself, and so glad I've been taking these, speaking to my friends, taking courses in using different marketing techniques, testing, measuring, joining mastermind groups, figuring out what people are doing. So now I'm not lost. See, success is when preparation meets the opportunity. Right? I'm prepared now for when that happens. Okay, cool, good. I'm glad it happened. Okay, how can I grow from this? Instead of, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? I'm panicking, urgent, this and that. And it's just noticing when those things happen, and you're prepared for it. So this is why entrepreneurs and people who want to be successful, you have to manage your stress levels. Right? Okay, Facebook's that account's gone. What can I do about it? Well, I can keep appealing it, which I'm already doing. My team's already doing that. We're trying to get it back. But I'm not going to wait for them to give me my account back. I'm going to move on to something else. I need to adapt. That's the key to success in entrepreneurship. Adapt to your current environment. Because if your current environment, like, it will get you. If you don't move forward, like if you look at Blockbuster didn't adapt. Now they're blockbusted. And Netflix, if Netflix don't adapt, the new thing that's coming will be streaming, live streaming. There won't be films that we'll watch. There'll be like live shows where you can just go in and it's live, and you'll be able to interact with the characters. You'll be able to, dictate. You can vote on the storylines, on what happens. I so wish, Avengers Endgame. Yeah. At the end, where Robert Downey Jr. gets if anyone's watched it, he gets the glove and he clicks that. Imagine at that point, if you could decide during the film, like, does he get the glove or doesn't he get the glove? And there's so many different scenarios that happen. Imagine how many times people would watch the film just to know how it ends. That's next level. And now that we have streaming, that's what's going to be possible. And they already did it with a show called Black Mirror. There's a show on Black Mirror where you can decide what happens in the show. So,
oh, really?
It's pretty weird. It's like, okay, should this person jump off the balcony and commit suicide, or should they take this? And depending on what action they take, produces a different result. And I think in the future, that's how films will be. And then we'll be in the film as well. We'll have these goggles where we're now in the film and we can participate in that film of what happens. So that's next level. If Netflix don't evolve to that, then they'll be taken out.
Yeah, that's insane though. The way technology is these days, we have smart everything, everything is all digitalized, but that there is pretty next level. Your wealth dragons thing, I don't really know too much about it. So could you tell me a bit about wealth dragons?
So Wealth Dragons is the PLC. So they're the group within Wealth Dragons. You have Wealth Dragons Media. So for example, we have an app. It's kind of like the self-development for it's like the Netflix self-development. So anything you want to learn about self-development, minds, improve yourself, then we have an app for that. And then we have within Wealth Dragons Media, we also have a software. So our software can so now people want to start their online businesses. So you can create an online membership site in 10 minutes. That means people can now get paid to make content. And now people can make a monthly subscription for posting content. So it's for creators, for people, teachers, for people that have got great content they want to post, and then we get paid money for it. So we have a software. So that's Wealth Dragons Media. And then the other side, we have our Wealth Dragons events and education. So we do education on real estate investing. So people, if they want to know how to invest in property, my business partner, Vincent Wong, is a multi-property millionaire. So he teaches all the different strategies there. We teach speaker training. So people who want to become a speaker, I have one of my trainers that teach the speaker training. I actually teach the social media and brand building. How do you build a business? How do you build a brand? How do you monetize it? We have a trainer for stocks and shares. If people got money, they want to invest it. How do we grow our money? And then we have a trainer for a business. So that education company, which used to do live events, no longer does any live events. We do everything virtual now.
Mm. So anyone who wants to build up different aspects of their business, they can just go to Wealth Dragons for coaching or setting up a company.
Correct.
That's awesome. And what is the website for that?
It's just Wealth Dragon. If you go to wealthdragons.com, you can see all the stuff there. Or if you haven't seen my stuff before, just go to YouTube or Google or Facebook, Instagram, just type in John Lee, and you can see all my content.
Oh, your content is brilliant. I'm sure many people have seen it, but yeah, I'll definitely put that in the show notes. So for people who want to find out more about you, what's all of your social platforms that you can be found on?
Biggest one is Instagram. So if you type in John Lee, you'll see the verified one with the blue tick. And you probably had this, when you get really big on social, people try and copy your account and create a fake account. So just make sure you follow the ones that's got the blue tick. So Instagram, and then Facebook. So I put a lot of content on Facebook as well. TikTok, I'm on TikTok. YouTube. So now I'm focusing all my energy on like in 2021, my goal is all my other accounts are over 1 million followers on all the other accounts apart from YouTube. So I'm going to focus all my energy in there. Again, where the focus goes, the energy flows as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So I mean, at the end of next year, my goal is to take that to over 1 million followers on that platform. So who knows? If I put enough effort, I've made a commitment to film a video every single day to upload onto YouTube. And so far, I've been doing that. And the more I film and post, the more followers I'm getting. The more.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what are the sort of things that you're posting on YouTube?
Just based on my insights. Like, for example, I'll take snippets of this and I'll post that on there. Maybe I'll read a book and I'll get an insight and I'll just create a video on that. But my channel is really all about living life on your own terms, whether that would be, making more money, like personal finance. A lot of people come from for personal finance. Like, how do I make more money? How do I invest more money? How do I get a better return? How do I start a business or grow a business? So the whole channel is basically about that.
Splendid. Are there is there anything that you'd like to share with us? Any final words which you think people should be aware of?
I just think, whatever you're doing right now, if you're not happy with doing it, even though you've been doing it for a long time, then just stop doing it. I don't know why people, like, life is short. Time is the only thing that everybody has, right? In common, everyone's got a lot, the same time, 24 hours in a day. I do, Richard Branson does, you do, Roger, everyone does, right? But how we utilize it is the key. So if we spend 8 hours a day working a job that we hate, do something about it, right? How much longer are you going to keep working in something that you don't want to do? Or if you're in a business right now that you're really unhappy about and you're having to do this other business so you can fund this business, like, get rid of it, right? Just do what makes you happy. And why you have to be happy? Because business is so hard that if you have to wake up every day and it feels like a chore, you'll never get it done. But if you're passionate about what you do and it's hard, you'll follow through. That's the secret.
Absolutely. John, thank you so much, my friend. It's been absolutely powerful. Absolutely. Thank you very much. We got to talk again. In fact, I'd like to speak to some of your partners. You mentioned of Vincent.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a chat with him one day.
Definitely.
Put a word in. Oh, I like to chat.
And thanks for hosting this and making decisions, because you've got a big platform, and I think when we have a great platform, we must put great things out there to make a difference to people. So I think what you're doing right now and having this, and it's amazing. And maybe we should have you on our podcast as well to talk about personal discipline. I think that'll be key.
I've got so many things to share. It will be a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
Again, John.
Awesome.
Bless.
Cheers.